What if I told you that the fairy tales we watched as children were nothing like we thought? That Pinocchio was actually a murderer, and Sleeping Beauty didn't wake up with a kiss, but after a terrible assault. The original versions of these stories are so dark that you will hardly believe them the first time you hear them. Are you ready to discover the truth hidden behind goodness, honesty, and happy endings? Pinocchio is a charming puppet who is turned into a real boy by the Blue Fairy. Throughout his adventures, he misbehaves but ultimately finds the right path and is rewarded for his goodness. The story teaches children the importance of honesty, courage, and compassion. In fact, this story is a later, altered version of the tale. In Carlo Collodi's original story, Pinocchio runs away from home the moment Geppetto creates him. In this original version, Pinocchio is not only mischievous but also a dangerous character. When caught, he lies, claiming that Geppetto mistreated him and has the poor man imprisoned. This shows that Pinocchio not only lies but also betrays the very person who gave him life. One night, unable to control his anger, he kills the talking cricket with a hammer. This murder makes it clear that the story was never really meant for children. In the end, Pinocchio is executed by hanging. Long ago, a village was under a terrible rat infestation. The rats were so many that they ate all the food and spread disease. One day, a man with a flute came to the village and promised to rid them of the rats. The villagers promised to pay him a large sum if he succeeded. When he played his flute, all the rats followed him out of the village and marched into a river where they drowned. But the villagers refused to pay him. Their broken promise shows that the real untrustworthiness lay not with the piper, but with the villagers themselves. In the modern version, the piper punishes the villagers by luring all the children into a cave with his magical music. When the villagers pay, he releases them. But in the older version, the piper is far more merciless. He leads all the children into a river to drown. Only one child survives. He is crippled and cannot keep up with the others, so he remains behind. Hansel and Gretel, lost in the forest, come across a house made of candy. But this house is not a sweet paradise. It was built to trap children. The witch who owns the house captures the siblings and locks them up. Just as she prepares to eat them, the children trick her and push her into her own oven. This classic ending teaches that good will always triumph over evil. In a much older French version, there is no witch. Instead, there is the devil. This change shows that the story has roots in ancient beliefs. At first, the devil treats the children kindly, but then builds a special wooden saw bench to cut them apart. The children pretend not to know how to lie down on it, tricking the devil into showing them. When he lies down, they slit his throat and escape, taking all his treasure. The earliest version of this story goes back to ancient times. In the original, the heroine was not called Cinderella but Rhodopis. She lived in ancient Egypt, and her story began when an eagle stole one of her sandals and delivered it to a king. This is where the first idea of the lost shoe comes from. Besides the pumpkin carriage and glass slippers, the original story resembles the version we know today. Charles Perrault added the pumpkin and glass slippers in the 1600s. In the Brothers Grimm version, Cinderella is not merciful to her cruel stepsisters. This version reflects the harshness of the era. The stepsisters cut off parts of their toes and heels to fit into the glass slipper. Their feet bleed terribly. Cinderella's pigeons tell the prince about this trick, and he pecks out the sisters' eyes. Cinderella does not forgive them. While she lives happily with the prince, her stepsisters spend the rest of their lives as blind beggars. In the modern version, the princess pricks her finger on a spindle cursed by an evil fairy, causing her to fall asleep. The curse came because she was not invited to the fairy's birthday celebration. 100 years later, a prince comes and wakes her with a kiss. They marry and live happily ever after. This version teaches that love conquers all, but the real story is far darker. In the ancient tale The Sun, the Moon and Talia, a fortune teller predicts at Talia's birth that she will one day die from the spindle of a flax spinning wheel. Her father destroys all flax in the palace, but when Talia grows up, she comes across a spinning wheel, touches it, and something terrible happens. A married king finds Talia asleep in his castle and, instead of helping her, takes advantage of her helplessness. While Talia remains unconscious, she becomes pregnant with twins to be named Sun and Moon. The so-called prince in this version is not a hero but a criminal. 9 months later, Talia gives birth while still asleep, unaware. The person who awakens her is not the king but one of the babies. As the child sucks the flax splinter from her finger, it is removed, and Princess Talia wakes up. She discovers that she has been assaulted and now has 2 children. For more videos like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm SIMURG. See you in the next video.